Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Merkel. I'm chairman of the Exeter Heritage Commission. I am declaring that an emergency exists, and I am invoking provisions of RSA 91A2, paragraph 3B. Federal, state, and local officials have determined that gatherings of 10 or more people pose a substantial risk to our community in its continuing efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19. In concurrence with their determination, I also find this meeting is imperative to the continued operation of town government and services, which are vital to public safety and confidence during this emergency. As such, this meeting will be conducted without a quorum of this body physically present at the same location. At this time, I'd like to welcome members of the public accessing this meeting remotely. Even though this meeting is conducted in a unique manner under unusual circumstances, the usual rules of conduct and decorum apply. I'd like to first introduce Bill Campbell. Though I think probably everyone knows Bill. He is now officially a member of the Heritage Commission. Welcome, Bill. Good to have you on.
Good to be here.
Could you each introduce yourself and verify that if there's anyone else in the room with you at the time, starting with you, Bill?
Bill Campbell, and now a new member of this commission, and there is nobody in the room at the time.
I'm John Merkel. There's nobody in the room with me at present. Pam?
I'm Pam Chatham, and there's nobody in with me either.
Maura?
Maura Fay. There is nobody in the hallway with me, but there are two other kids that you may hear. Their Zoom calls in the background, not too far away from me, and my husband supervising. So
Good. Julie?
Julie Gilman, Select Board Rep, and I am alone, although you may hear my husband pacing on the phone in the background.
Okay, let's get started.
John, 1 second. I see Jay on the list of attendees. I don't know if he's trying to enter the meeting, but I'm not sure how that works, or maybe Bob is in charge of that.
I don't see him.
No, he's on the attendees as opposed to the panelists.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that isn't a DJ, he could raise his hand, and I can unmute him, and we can make. If he's out of state or something, or out of the area. Hey, Jay, if you're there, could you press the raise hand button? There you go. So I can allow you to talk. And so you should be able to unmute yourself.
There we go. Sorry.
I can promote you to a panelist now as well.
Okay.
So.
Sorry about that.
You remember it, let me know, okay?
Okay.
There you are.
We have you, Jay. Could you introduce yourself and determine if there's anyone else in the room present with you?
Yes, my name is Jay Myers, and I am alone. I'm not sure how I got away from being a panelist, but I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Okay. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes from the August meeting?
Yes, I think so.
Were there any comments or additions?
Just refreshing my memory here.
None from me.
Move to accept.
I'll second.
All in favor? We have to do this.
Roll call.
Do this orally. Bill, but you weren't at the meeting.
So I abstain.
Pam?
Accept.
Maura?
Aye.
Julie?
I approve, yes.
Jay?
Aye.
The minutes are accepted. Next item on the agenda is the Black Heritage Pocket Park update. Is there anything to report on that, Maura?
Not a ton to report. We met as a group on August 20th. We talked a lot about kind of how we wanted to focus the design of the park, whether it should be sort of specific to the Jude Hall family or whether people felt it would be better to make it a broader focus and have it be more just, the history of the Black community in Exeter and sort of how far reaching we wanted to try to get with that. So the general consensus was people felt that they would like it to be a broader focus on Exeter's Black history, and had a little bit of discussion about how that might look, but sort of, we're charged with go away and think about that. And we'll talk again about what design might look like. People had a couple of examples. Jen Martell, who's on the committee, who's on the planning board, who's also a landscape designer, had some examples she was able to share with us from the University of Virginia, who had created a memorial to enslaved workers who had helped to build the university. So that's, just some design ideas that we'll be talking about and thinking about in the next month or so. And we do have a meeting scheduled for next week.
Now, did you pick on a spot for it?
We're still talking about that. Renee had been speaking with the Swayze trustees individually. I don't know if she's gone before the board as a whole, but she also mentioned that they are undergoing their master plan process as the trustees. So she hoped that she'd be able to kind of weave this into that conversation around whether this could be placed in Swayze and which of the location options would be best. So that's still in discussion.
I still think I don't like to take a bite out of Mr. Swayze's Parkway. I think it should be somewhere else.
Well, I think, if that's the feeling of the trustees, that's, certainly something we would honor. But again, leave that up to whether the trustees feel like that's an appropriate use of the space or not.
Have there been any suggestions for outside of Swayze Parkway?
Not specifically, no. I think until there's a definite yay or nay from Swayze trustees, I think that's where Renee wanted to focus. So that's as far as we've gotten right now.
Okay.
Is there any measures that we have to undertake, Maura?
No, not at this time. I don't think they have yet gotten to the point of discussing, specifics of cost. Obviously, depending on what the design ends up looking like, that will impact how much it may cost to create. But I think there's still a ways to go before we get to any discussion of funding and construction and stuff like that.
Okay.
And really, it's, the idea is sort of some benches, some sort of memorial, whether it be stones or, placard or, I don't know what the word is, that for some sort of, display with words or artwork of some kind. Relatively simple. I don't think anybody's intending for this to be too elaborate.
Has there been any discussion around Park Street, part of Swayze, where the primary locations of Black Americans were in Exeter?
We did talk about that some. Barbara Rinkunis is also involved in the discussion. And so there was some talk about sort of whether there might be an opportunity to create not just a park, but maybe a couple of other markers in town, specifically like the Park Street entrance to Swayze, where a large part of the community lived. Although she was saying that there was, I guess, a significant cluster of Black families in that area. There were also families kind of scattered throughout town. So there would certainly be a couple of other locations that might make sense to highlight. And she had created a a sort of a Black History of Exeter walk a couple of years ago that had, I don't know, 8 or 10 different locations with significance to Exeter's Black history. So there's some idea of potentially expanding it somewhat. You know, we had talked about here about a walking tour of some kind, and maybe this could be sort of a Black heritage walking tour. So that's a possibility.
I'm sure Barbara told you about the Park Street used to be called Katie's Lane,
Yeah, she mentioned that.
and that there is an article coming out on that.
Oh, good. Well, I'll look forward to reading that.
I'm new to this, but has the Exeter Common been thought of as a place also?
I mean,
Or-
Townhouse Common?
House, yeah, Townhouse Common.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing to throw out, certainly, as an idea. I think that there's
Especially
probably
if
a
you
few
do
little
more than
spaces.
one, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a few spaces that could see a couple of benches and a memorial added to it pretty easily. That's another good idea.
Bill, thanks for asking that. That was a question I had. But a follow-up too, there's that piece of property across from the post office. I'm not sure what that property, could that be used? I don't know who owns that property. It's undeveloped. It's full of weeds.
That's private. That's privately owned, so it would not. I wouldn't see that as an opportunity.
The person that owns it did have some development plans, but they have not gone through. I don't know if his permit is still there because it's been several years.
Well, they extended it early in the year because the HDC approvals only extend for a year. So if you want to continue with your development, you have to get it approved to get an extension. So I believe it's through this year.
Okay.
Is there any other conversation or comments?
One of the things when we were talking about different sites, and if it's if you want a central, excuse me, a central monument as opposed to a walking tour with smaller monuments, we ought to talk to the select board about the pocket park on Water Street, right by the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that was mentioned. Maybe you mentioned that, Julie, another time we talked.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's another little corner that could get worked with.
Any other comments?
No.
All right, let's move on to the ParkKass Street Heritage District. What have we done over the past 30 days?
Not much.
Well, Jay put together the presentation, which I only have a couple of comments on. One is, I'll begin at the top, when you described the Heritage Commission and how it was, how it came to be, what its purposes and what the state law are. We should also mention that we established one in 2006 by a vote of the people.
Mm-hmm. Did you get, you have a conversation, Jay?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Julie, are you referencing the bullet, the two bullets there at the top of?
Yeah, on slide 2.
Yeah.
Where you talk about, you mentioned the RSA being originated in 1992.
Yeah.
But the town adopted it in 2006.
Gotcha. I can do that, yeah.
Yeah, so we should let them know we've been around a while.
Okay. Anybody else?
Are we still planning on taking this to the planning board before or after we send out the announcement to the public?
I thought we decided we would take it to the planning board, or at least talk to them about it.
There's pluses and minuses either way. One, if we go to the planning board and they just say, no, this isn't our field of expertise, then we're done. The other is if we go and have the public meeting where we introduce the topic, then we can go to the planning board and say, we have this much interest in it. So it's a kind of flip of a coin of how much work we want to do, targeted to which audience, I guess.
Is there a written document that you people have? John, maybe you could send me a copy, or Jay?
Actually, Bill, I was just going to. We had a grant through the Certified Local Government Program, and they did a survey of the Park Street, Cass Street, Walnut Street, Oak Street. You know, that whole section of town down through Main Street up to this school. And it was determined that it had significant historical significance. And we are pursuing the possibility of creating a heritage district, not a historic district. It's different. Heritage district is kind of a historic district light. It doesn't have the huge regulatory issues to deal with it. And it gets the people in that district involved in the management of it. And the way the RSAs are written, the planning board oversees it from a land use perspective.
Okay.
There's a document, Bill, on the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources. If you go to nh.gov.hdhr, there's a document called, hold on a second, I have it here. It's the Neighborhood Heritage District Handbook.
Neighborhood Heritage District, a handbook for New Hampshire municipalities.
Good for you.
But that's not featuring our district specifically.
No, it's not.
Okay.
If you go on the town website into the Heritage Commission, on the I don't think it's links. Is it links? Where there's a 200-page report. The study is there.
Okay.
And there is a map.
Yeah, the Park Street survey is on there.
It is there, yes. And there's a map that shows you the I'm trying to see if I have it here.
That's all right. I can go on and look at it. That's a good, as long as I know the source.
There's a map, and it's got it there. It identifies all the buildings in that district and the outbuildings, and I think the green ones are considered contributing historically to the study, and there's secondary ones that are contributing, but not in the same manner, and there's identifies the buildings that are non-contributing.
Great.
But the reason that we're interested in pursuing this is that it contains buildings that are actually older than what we have in the present historic districts. And it kind of it defines it as a neighborhood. Most of the buildings are totally non-conforming, which makes it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the Division of Historical Resources was very supportive in our efforts to try to do this.
Good. Well, I'll look at that.
Yeah, the document I was talking about, Phil, is on the Division of Historical Resources website, and I can send the link. And I think that would be important to have both on our website, but also in this PowerPoint document if we're going to go forward with that.
Thank you.
So where do we go from here now? If we are planning on doing something with the planning board, we're going to need to look a couple months out because of the backlog they have on their schedule. But Jay, are we as a commission wanting to still go ahead and notify the neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, I think I heard Julie say it's either one way or the other. We flip a coin. I'm for either. If it's easier for us to plan ahead and meet with the planning board and get on the agenda, then let's do it. Other than that, we've got to start to mobilize a little bit, and maybe we've stalled out in our ability to reach the consensus on that. I don't know.
Yes, Maura.
I think since we know it's going to take some time to get on the planning board's agenda, maybe since it's sort of a gamble, it's worth us trying to get on their agenda, find out how long that will take, and then maybe plan to have a community meeting in the interim so that we have a sense of what kind of interest there is. Because I think, to Julie's point, it does make sense to bring some level of information to the planning board of, there were 20 people in the neighborhood or just in town in general who are interested in this idea. So they have a sense of whether there's broader support for it or not.
Yes, and we've been, Exeter TV has made themselves available to put us together a Zoom meeting for anybody that wants to participate.
I would think it would be good to do that before you go to the planning. If it all of a sudden appeared on the planning board thing, and some of the people in the area, the Park Street area, wonder what's going on, they might get a little excited and not be too much in favor of it. And certainly when we did the High Street one, we did a lot of preliminary work and to let people know and try and get their support. Julie knows that. A lot of footwork.
I think that was easier because it only applied to High Street as opposed to this whole area that we're talking about and trying to. We talked before about if we can narrow it down to the parties of interest or whether we have to make this broad public notification. I'm sort of leaning towards making it more broad, more open to the public, just because somebody else might want to do it in their neighborhood too. But how to do that, I don't know. We'll have to talk to Bob.
Well, I think we can probably get a list of the property owners and put together the postcard that we are now doing as opposed to the what do you call it?
Door tag. Door hanger.
Door hangers, yes. Why don't we try to get that announcement, the postcard done and get that out into the public, and let's plan on once we have that piece of material together before we finalize, we should have a meeting date and a venue that we can bring forth and solicit interest.
Well, the venue is right like this, right? We can't be in the town hall.
No, I would think that this would be the venue. But we would need to put together a talking script, a presentation beforehand, so that we had everything together. But the postcard would be the first, I would think, informational piece that would go out to the public.
Yes, I think we do both. We can send that out to the area that the survey area, and then we can also, excuse me, we can also post it as an activity on the town calendar and on our website, and even on the meeting schedule. We do have to talk to the building department about this because they don't have any idea.
Mm-hmm.
I have talked with Doug a little and Barbara about this a little bit. And actually, Doug was pretty excited. I thought it was a good idea.
Good.
I think, when we send the postcard out, I feel like we should have a date set for the community meeting so that we can definitely, have people save a date. And either an email or just some sort of link so that we can direct them to how will they identify how to get, into the Zoom.
Yeah, and once we do that, we should put some sort of a presentation together that may involve some graphic, things that I'm not experienced enough to do that in this venue. I don't know how we go about that.
Well, there's the share screen function. So if either Bob or one of us is the host, we can share our screen and show it to whoever's watching. People on the phone aren't going to be able to see it, but
I can share my screen right now. We could kind of test out that process. I've got a draft of the postcard that I've shared with some of you, and we could work that out right now, and
Okay.
we can finish it. So let me just share if you don't mind doing that.
Go for it.
Let me make this larger here.
There's this fourth postcard. Yes.
So originally this was side A to a draft of the postcard. I'm going to go to an alternative. This is an alternative side A, and then the flip side would be this. So this is side A is the introductory part to the recipient. This was the original draft that I put together, and then the last time we met, I did an alternative to that. So I'll give you a moment to read over this. And then when you're ready, I can show you the alternative.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think last time we talked about the card, it changed my thoughts a little bit, and this might go to what Maura was saying in terms of a link or a way to connect. So I shifted this around a little bit.
Yeah, I like this side better.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
I do too. I think that when you just had too many things for the person to do, I think people will look at that and they'll say, forget it. But this they can do.
This gets right to the point.
Or the last, very bottom line, you have the link to the Preservation Alliance. Is that where you're directing them to the Neighborhood District Manual?
That's where they would be able to find it, yes.
Okay.
At least that's my understanding.
Well, here's I'm going to make a plug for the DHR one, although it'll take a little bit longer on in that little space. Only because once somebody goes to that site, there's so much information on the DHR's website that would be interesting for, it would be an encouragement for people to look at everything that the state is doing and how it reacts with both heritage districts and historic districts, plus knowledge of New Hampshire in general. So, I'd make a plug for that. People probably won't wander around the total website, but there's definitely that spot goes directly. I can share the link with all of you guys.
That's okay.
What does the backside do, Jay?
So the other side, Bill, let me bring that up.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, that doesn't say too much.
I would advocate a sentence somewhere, whether it's this side or the other side, of going to the website, the Heritage Commission website, and looking at the full document. They could see their own property there, and
yeah, and the survey of why it's important or why it could be recognized as this. Yeah.
So it's just, so should I put it in that space here instead of?
No, with it. Leave that there, but say, and the.
Yeah, I think you have a little bit more room for.
The complete survey is available on the Exeter Heritage Commission website.
There you go.
Or would it make sense to put that at the end of that first paragraph, where it says the completed document is now available? Just put the link right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
If I could make a suggestion as well, you could just have the one link on the bottom of the page, and then, because you mentioned another third link, you could have that third link, have all of that stuff on the Heritage Commission website. Because if I got this letter in the mail, as it was now without that, it says Exeter Heritage Commission, but it sounds like I'm getting this letter from the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance. Like it looks like it's coming from not the town. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously you'd probably put the town logo in here somewhere, and I have those digital assets if you need them, but you'd probably want to make it look like it's coming from a town committee. Yeah. Rather than, like, my first glance, this is a postcard from the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance, especially because that's what it says at the bottom. That's just my outside take. So.
Oh, that's good. Well, if we add to that first paragraph what John's recommended, adding the link to the Heritage Commission's website, we can reference both that the Park Street survey as well as the neighborhood or Heritage District manual. Or have that posted on our website. So it's just for more information, go there.
Maura suggested a couple meetings ago is to maybe just have a Heritage District link that has all of this in it.
Yeah.
Instead of listing it as separate pieces.
Yeah.
That would probably look a lot nicer and make more sense. Like just at the bottom, for additional information, visit the town website, and then you put the what your committee web link would be.
I think that's what John was getting at, to make it more direct, is to put it at that first paragraph, which we say the completed surveys is available on the Heritage Commission website. And then for the actual manual, we I don't know. We can say both the survey and information on the Heritage manual, Heritage District manual, are available at the Exeter Conservation. I'm on too many commissions. The Exeter Heritage Commission's website. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, it does.
So just to be clear, would I put our web address here after the EHC website?
Yes.
And then leave the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance info at the bottom.
No, I take that out.
Okay. So just take this out completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, gone.
That's easy. And then what is the third link we were talking about, Julie? You were referring to the handbook.
Yeah, the Heritage District manual from the state. So I don't know if we put that, if we put the link to the Division of Historical Resources, or we just reiterate that you can find it on our website, as long as we post it.
If I could make another suggestion too, I think putting the Zoom link on there might not really accomplish a lot, because it's a piece of paper, so they can't click on the link. So I think that's why I think it looked really quite nice at the bottom there, for more information. And if you had the web link, all the other things you want to link, I can help whoever put that on the town website, including the Zoom link, so that everything that is referenced above for more information, visit our website.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make it simpler.
Yeah, Bob, that would be. Thank you for that.
Zoom meeting or the date and time.
When we get it.
Yeah, you'd probably want that on there, but that way, just because it's yeah.
Yeah, if we just have to reference the one Heritage Commission website for, maybe we could list them there, the Park Street survey, the neighborhood, or keep saying the wrong thing, Heritage District manual, and then once we have our Zoom link, we can post the date and say for all of them, for invitation. Just put them all in one sentence, I guess.
I'd agree to that. Yeah. You want to make it as simple as possible. You don't 2 or 3 places they have to go.
Yeah. So we can have, for the survey, I think we need to make a list of the different pieces, parts there are. So we want something for the something for the survey, something for the manual, and then something for when we decide on a date and have a Zoom link. They should all reference the Heritage Commission's web page.
So I can put that here, the completed survey. Heritage.
You know what I would do, Jay, instead is after the second paragraph, because we're trying to introduce the Heritage District, that we put all of these documents can be found on our, Heritage Commission website. And then somewhere we have to be able to put that Zoom link, and I would put it on the website also, so it's all in one place.
All right.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
And in fact, the Zoom link, the actual Zoom link can be saved and put there. If somebody can't make the Zoom link, or any citizen can access it.
Right, from maybe an agenda, or just Bob, you can tell us if we can stick a Zoom link right up.
I mean, I would probably, I can help edit so if someone goes to your page, they see the event, but I would suggest then, depending on how many of you are there, I think you'd have to post this as a Heritage Commission meeting anyways. Mm-hmm. So maybe a special meeting. That way you post it the same as an agenda, but the topic of the agenda would be this presentation, public forum type thing. And then I can embed that event on your Heritage Commission page so people can see it. And on that, on that agenda would be the Zoom link, the same as any meeting. That further helps to just make it, streamline it, I guess. And then once the video is done, the same as we post the videos for the other stuff, it'll be right on the minutes agendas page. People can click video and watch it, but we can also link that on here as well. Just looking at your site now, I mean, you just have it, you might want to reference where it is on your site, because it's under supporting documents. I don't know if that's important or not, but.
Yes, it is.
Because right now I know there's a Franklin Street area survey as a separate web page.
Right.
But that's the only thing that's separate, and there's actually nothing on that page except PDF. So right now everything's just in your supporting documents.
All right.
We're almost there.
So we'll go with this. I'll work with Bob perhaps to tidy this up. I like the idea of putting something Exeter seal or symbol somewhere visible here on the card.
Yeah.
So and then once I'll circulate this amongst the group one more time, and then go from there.
Okay.
Nice job, Jay. Thank you. This is very helpful.
Yeah.
When do we want to consider doing the actual community event?
Well, I'd like to do it as soon as we can. I mean, pretty soon it's going to be Christmas. We've only got 2. And I don't want to be doing it in December, and I don't think you really want to be doing it just the week before Thanksgiving either.
I mean, is late October too ambitious?
I shouldn't think so. We've got all the stuff.
As long as you stay away from the election.
Well, that's November, so late October should hopefully sometime that last week of November. October maybe. Mm-hmm.
I wonder whether the interest will be there at that point.
Well, that's why we're doing this postcard now. So
Third week, maybe, on the soon of October.
Yep. Now, Maura, I have written down that you were going to put the slideshow together. Was I hallucinating, or?
No, you were not hallucinating. I offered to help with putting some graphics in there. I'm happy to coordinate with Jay. He's made a great start, so I don't know that we need to do a ton with it, but I've got some extra photos we could throw in of a couple of houses, or whatever people think is a good idea.
Sure. Well, fine.
Yeah, grab a few photos of the properties that have been identified as historic resource of some importance
As far as the date of the Zoom meeting, maybe we should look and see what options are open at the end of October. So we don't want to put it on when there's another meeting going on, obviously. Maybe we need to look at the calendar.
Yeah,
I just kind of looked ahead a little bit, if I may, and it looks like it is tough because we are getting into budget season. So no matter what night you pick, you'll probably be at the same time as a meeting, which we can do 2 at a time. But just, because I was originally thinking the 21st looks clear, but it looks like there's a budget committee meeting. So it's almost every day this week.
Budget. Let's just go for us. And there's nothing else on the 21st other than budget?
What time is the budget meeting, Bob? I'm not looking at the calendar.
According to the calendar, it says 6:30. That sounds about right. I don't know if they've set their schedule in advance. That's just what's showing up on the town website.
Yeah, no, we did. And I was going to say maybe it would be short, but that was our organizational meeting, which is short, and this one is more in detail. So it won't be like we can do one right after the other.
Alternatively, if this was, we could do it on a weekend or something. I don't know when you're trying to, when people would want to do one of these. It's always tough we're finding with these virtual events. We've done some with the Historical Society that, had over 100 people trying to get into it. And then, we have really important select board meetings with like 2 people. So, it's tough to try and see who it is. I guess the benefit, if you did something on a weekend and it wasn't the whole board there, you can do registration, which is what we do for like nonprofit webinars, where like you can actually ask questions ahead of time. People have to register in advance, and so you know who's coming. We wouldn't do that if it was a public meeting, because anyone should be able to pop in.
How long a meeting do you anticipate?
Well, it's a rather dense subject to people that have no idea what we're talking about. And I would imagine there'd be lots of questions given some of the points on how a district is managed. Right. So I would say at least 2 hours.
But if you go past 2 hours, people just fade and fall off.
Well, I was wondering if we just started at 6 o'clock at some night. Is that too much interfering with dinner hour? Especially unless we run half an hour before a budget committee would start. People could peel off for that, but at least we get the basics out maybe in half an hour. I don't know.
Maura.
I think 6 o'clock would be a little hard, but I was just checking the town's calendar, and it looks like the 28th is pretty open too. It says there's a Swayze trustees site walk that evening, but I don't think that would be something that would conflict. So what if we looked at the 28th instead, and did like a 6:30 to 8 or 8:30, depending on what makes sense.
Sounds good.
Okay.
October 28th. 6:30.
If I could just add, it might be good to check with Pam or Barb, or whoever, I guess the staff person, because while it looks open, I see that the budget committee's on Thursday, and they usually don't meet on Thursday, so that might have been an error in the date, potentially. So, but I'm not the master of calendars, so, but as of right now, we'd be available either of those days to do one. So it would just, be possibly in competition with something else. So we're happy to be flexible, and as long as we have enough advance notice, we can make sure someone gets there.
Okay.
Okay, I will contact Barbara to see if that date is available.
And I think for in the interest of time, because we've already said Jay's taking on this manual of writing a postcard, and Maura's, and we've already got the PowerPoint show started, and Maura has offered to add into it, that there's a certain amount of work that we can go ahead and do as part of our work product without having to have a public meeting to discuss it. So either we meet more often between now and October 28th, or we work via email, but include Barbara and Doug on the chain so that the documents can be made available.
Okay.
I'm happy either way.
That's probably easier to do it via the email than trying to meet publicly.
Yeah.
Just remember that you can't be emailing in an email chain, because then that is a public meeting.
Okay.
So for 91A reasons. So if it was just the chair and one person or something, that can work, but just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So what I see likely happening is that Jay and Maura are going to be communicating mostly. And what you can do is just email us for review purposes, and not have to meet in mass at all. Yeah.
We'd have to be sure it's recognized as a work product, as opposed to, like, if three of us or more are having a say in this, then we need to identify the work as a work product as opposed to a full commission dissemination. And then if we all want to discuss it, I'd recommend a short meeting at any time that we can schedule it as a special meeting.
We can do that within 24 hours. Yeah. All right, I think we've made some real progress here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Good. At some a walking tour for interested in it, so they understand it a little better. But that can we don't have to worry about right now. Is there any further discussion on this? I know, Maura, you're a little tight for time, so okay. Is there other business?
Yes, there is. It's actually historic district business, but it's our business too, because the hospital still wants to tear down 110 High Street. And that's on the agenda for HDC. Now, if something is going to be torn down, shouldn't it come to us? We've been through this over and over again.
We've already made our decision on that, and we've had the public meeting on that, and that was in 2019. We made our decision to preserve it. I think that stands, and those documents have been forwarded to the HDC.
Yes, they were. Thank you for doing that, but I just wanted to make sure that this is the way we go.
We have quite a group of people, well, a small group maybe, compared to what, I don't know, that are going to be there to speak against it. One of the problems being that they've already got a P&S with a company called Jefferson Homes, and they are planning to tear it down and build another house. But there's no guarantee. The hospital is very coy about this. There's no guarantee that Jefferson couldn't change their mind and say, oops, we don't want to build here, so we'll.
Bill, I have to interrupt you. That's not really something for this body.
Well, let me just say there'll be people there, and I welcome any of you to watch it and see what happens.
Thank you.
The other thing about that is that the documentation that goes with that application has not been posted on the website. So if you're interested in seeing it, you have to contact the Planning and Building Department.
You can get it on the Heritage Commission website. Or if you go to agendas and meetings, not just go to the website, but go to agendas and meetings and input Heritage Commission and then specify the date. You'll get
The date is August 21st, 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about what's going to be presented at the HDC.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
We just got that by paper. Okay, so there's that. That's good. I have one other thing. No, I think we covered everything.
Good.
The flagpole.
Yes. There's Greg.
Waiting patiently. Don't worry. I love listening to this stuff. I actually did get permission with Bob. I'm going to share my screen. And Bill, I'll bring you up to speed real quick. I'm presenting to you as a board for permission to and your approval to replace the flagpole at Winter Street Cemetery. So let's do this. Share. All right. This is the current flagpole at Winter Street Cemetery. As you can see, the nice bend here. Yep. And we did remeasure, and I was wrong. It is actually only 35 feet. So let me go back. We're proposing a satin flagpole. The cost of a dark bronze or a black flagpole was out of our budget. This is a very muted flagpole, and I'll scroll up and give you a little. I like the black and the bronze, but satin is definitely something we can do. And on top of it is a nice eagle.
Some eagle.
Yeah. And that total is, with the flagpole and the eagle, it comes up to $2,359.63. $98.65, which I have in my budget. I can cover the rest of the project, and then working with Public Works to install it. So to give you a background, the veterans line that usually goes to the Memorial Day parade is going to be helping fund this. That's not all coming out of my budget. So they wanted to do something to give back to the community since Memorial Day parade was canceled and went virtual. So that would be something we would do. It would take 3 to 4 weeks to deliver, and then hopefully we could get it installed before Veterans Day.
Well, that would be gorgeous. What a lovely surprise.
Yeah, and the satin finish is good because it's funny that people don't realize it, but when something is more gray like that, it does fade into the background more than black. I know we considered that with the hospital again when they put in their new smokestack, that they were going to use a different material, and when they did their calculations of what's the best color, they picked a kind of gray like that because most often our skies are gray.
So we didn't want to do something that would really stick out, and I think this is definitely a big upgrade for a historical cemetery such as Winter Street.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
I don't know if you want to officially endorse it, you guys, but any thumbs up, and then I can proceed and start ordering stuff.
Bravo, Greg. Bravo.
Yeah, I think, let's take a roll call there.
Let's take a roll call vote.
Let me make a motion. I approve the proposal for new flagpole at Winter Street Cemetery.
Second.
Bill.
Yes.
Pam.
Yes.
Maura.
Yes.
Julie.
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Okay, Greg, you're all set.
Well, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so patient.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Is there any other business?
Yes, this is probably, it's not really an opinion for the board. I just wanted to give Pam a warning that I'm actually getting a legal opinion on whether the two of us can actually speak about 110 High Street at the HDC, because we've both already given our opinion about the demolition.
Oh, wow.
Well, I don't know the answer to that because there's more for the HDC to consider besides just whether the building gets demolished. They also consider what's going to replace it. But I asked for clarification. I don't want to be challenged.
Okay.
Good move. If
Could you not be designated by the committee to give their report? Assuming the report of the demolition from August 11th. It's not sure that everybody's read that on the committee.
That's true. We could do that. It can be any one of us, but we should all be in consensus of who would make the presentation of how we came to our decision. And Pam or I can do that role, but not.
But can these? Is it too late to send the minutes or at least the first document to everyone on the HDC?
We did that. I asked for that to be done. Yeah.
Okay, so they got it. That's good. All right.
So that's a good question, Bill.
Yeah, I'm not sure that everybody reads everything that on a committee when there's a lot there, having been on a couple of committees in my time here. So that it might be nice to just have maybe a synopsis of what the report was. Not everybody's.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we designate someone other than Pam or I? And then if it's found that we have to recuse from that application, then Pam or I could at least get up at the microphone, so to speak, and give the process that we went through and the explanation for why we made our decision, which I think is pretty clear in the minutes, to tell you the truth. But again, not everybody reads everything, so.
Okay, if we were to hold a regular meeting in October, it would be on the 20th. Is everybody comfortable with this time?
Yeah, it's a good time. I like this time.
All right, so what we would be doing, we would be meeting on the 20th, I think, as a public meeting. Mm-hmm. And then on the 28th, we're looking to do a non-public meeting, rather a presentation for the public.
Well, yeah, if we're all there, it would be a public meeting and we'd put out the usual agenda. And that's where Bob was talking about putting the link to the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
And I think we should probably all be there, so I would make it a public meeting.
All right, so we'll be meeting twice. I think it would be helpful if we did meet on the 20th, just to kind of like get ourselves in the proper frame of mind and understand the presentation. And then we will conduct another one on the 28th, if I can secure that time.
So the 20th will be 12:30 and the 28th is 6:30.
At 6:30.
Okay. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Bill?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Maura?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.